Welcome to the first session of grammar on E-English Tube. On this fascinating trip, you and I are going to be talking about grammar, and along the way we'll be answering giant questions like what makes it so special, how is that perfectly learned. The word grammar refers to the system of a language. People sometimes describe it as rules, but in fact, no language has rules. If we use the word rules, we suggest that somebody created the rules first, then spoke the language like a new game. But languages did not start like that. Languages started by people making sounds which evolved into words, phrases, and sentences. All languages change over time. What we call grammar is simply a reflection of a language at a particular time. The term grammar basically is the study or use of the structures and how words change their form and combine with other words to make sentences, meaningful sentences. For example, I hate Jack. Jack hates me. Hate Jack, I, Jack, hate. As you clearly see, within all, only two first sentences are giving sense and meaning, and we kind of know that they are right because subject comes first, verb goes next, and object appears at last, which, after all, this is the typical word order in English sentences. Now that we understood what grammar is, let's talk about its types. If you dive into it detailedly, then there are comparative grammar, generative, mental, pedagogical, performance, reference, theoretical, traditional, transformational, universal, lexical grammar, lexical, functional grammar. But let's put all of that stuff aside and directly touch upon the general kinds of it, which are prescriptive grammar and descriptive grammar. To start with the first one, it delineates when people concentrate on talking about how a language should or ought to be used. One way to remember this association is to think of going to a doctor's office. When a doctor gives you a prescription for medication, it often includes directions about how you should take your medication, as well as what you should not do when taking your medication. In a similar way, a prescriptive grammar tells you how you should speak and what type of language to avoid. This is commonly found in English classes as well as other language classes, where the aim is to teach people how to use language in a very particular, normally described as proper or correct way. In descriptive grammar, a descriptive grammar looks at the way a language is actually used by its speakers and then attempts to scrutinize it and formulate rules about the structure. Descriptive grammar does not deal with what is good or bad language use. Forms and structures that might not be used by speakers of standard English would be regarded as valid and included. It's a grammar based on the way a language actually is and not how some think it should be. A key contrast is to be found between these two approaches. A descriptive grammarian would say that a sentence is grammatical if a native speaker of the language would produce that sentence in speaking. The descriptive grammarian would then try to describe how that sentence is produced through theorizing about the mental processes that lead up to the surface form. Note that I have tried to emphasize that the descriptive grammarian hears a form and tries to describe the mental processes underneath the produced or spoken form, while a prescriptive grammarian does not hypothesize about the mental grammar at all, but is merely concerned with editing the surface form. Now that we are aware of types, let's talk about the categories grammar has. Parts of speech, tenses, sentence and structure, grammatical processes. So today we discussed what grammar is, how many types it has, and we understood the differences between general types. And in the end, we also got to know what categories are there for grammar. In next episode, we'll talk about parts of speech and all it has. For staying with us, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on all the notifications. Best of luck.